Ladies and gentlemen, the rules don't apply. All the way from Columbus, Indiana to your hearts, please welcome DoN Rules!
Thank you. Thank you. You know, climate change affects this generation, but it will devastate the next generation. Every time my kid acts up, I go outside and empty 2 hairspray cans from the 80s. The funny thing about liberals is that they are against climate change, but they're all for a sex change. I think conservatives are put off by how close climate change sounds like sex change. You know, cutting off the world's dick, if you catch what I'm saying. Imagine the paperwork on renaming Earth Trans Earth. Everyone would have to go back to school. And while we're there, let's hope we learn about climate change. You having a good time tonight? Who's recently been to a family gathering?
I have.
You, sir. Okay, so the rest of us have lives. I'm just playing. Family gatherings are the best. Your cousin got a scholarship, your uncle got a tattoo, and your grandma got a new nipple ring. When your family gets together, you realize this is why we never get together. But there's always a lot of food at family socials. Like, for instance, potato salad. I don't like it, but after I pee in it, no one else does either. The dress code is a bit weird. You want to be yourself, but yourself brings so much shame to grandma that you create a hybrid of clothing that is half prep, half punk. I asked my dad why it mattered so much that I wore a suit. Like the great father he was, he said he didn't care if I wore a suit. He just thought that I shouldn't wear the dress. I sat in front of my uncle, and while talking, he spit a carrot on me. He was a general physician, so I just asked, "What's up, Doc?" Gross. I think families can get rough with each other sometimes. But we all agreed that the baby had no webbed feet and 2 eyes, so what happens between 2 cousins stays in the family until it's 5 and has to go to school. So, does anybody here fish? I really don't care. I don't care if you fish or not. I'm just asking you that because you know what I'm fixing to talk about. I'm fixing to talk about fishing, and I'm just asking you, well, do you fish, and can you relate? Honestly, I don't care. I'm going to talk about fishing anyway, so just shut up. Just shut up. But anyway, fishing can be fun for the human. Imagine having an involuntary piercing with your lunch. That's what it's like for the fish. If someone put a burger on your plate only to have a slightly hidden hook yank you by the mouth into an atmosphere you can't breathe in, you would be flapping and flopping as hard as you could to get away too. But when a human goes fishing, it's a very calm activity that can become very competitive if you let it. As the fish is going through pure turmoil, it's nice to be able to look at the person who's fishing with you and give them a look of, I'm fixing to reel it in like a motherfucking boss! Bitch, suck my fish! You know, that look of, holy shit, I got lucky, because who knows where those fucking things are swimming around at. It's like a duck hunting if you had a green mossy screen between you and the sky. But if you don't let fishing become too competitive and you allow yourself to just be in the moment, it's almost a form of meditation. It can simplify the mind. If the line starts to tighten, reel and let go. Reel and let go. Reel and let go. The mantra there is reel and let go. Applying that to real life, it's beautiful. Reel and let go. Reel and let go. The fish will fight and let go as well, exhausting himself. The difference here is that the human is less likely to give up. As a human, he wants his prize. It's gone from nutrition to pride. This is why you see lures hanging from power lines, tree limbs, and the occasional person. Getting the fish across the barrier of "I control whether you live or die" point is the idea. Those who throw the fish back send them back with a freshly made hole in their face. Those that keep them usually eat them or forget about them in the freezer until they're forced to throw it away for sanitary purposes. But they both end up with everything smelling like a pond. Swamp ass is not a metaphor. It's a literal term for people who fish. You know, a girl told me one time that she liked a little pain with her sex. Then as she explained, I realized she likes a lot of pain with her sex. Candle wax, spankings, choking, biting, scratching, and just so it felt like she was having sex with a high school bully, nipple twisting. Now, I don't mind those things, just as long as those things aren't being done to me. She asked me my secret word, and I told her the secret word is ouch! She once wore latex in the summer and got mad at me when I said, "That's punishment enough." She broke out chains another time, and I told her I wasn't into being a ghost from A Christmas Carol. She would bite me so much I thought she was a mosquito, and therefore instead of lube, I would use off. At first I found choking too disturbing, but after a story about her work, I really found myself wanting to indulge in her pleasure. She scratched my back so hard during sex sometimes that if she were murdered, police would blame me and say there was a struggle. Hot wax was fun for a while, and really only for her. That's because she did it with some other guy because I refused to burn myself. When I would pull her nipples, she would scream with joy. When she would pull my nipples, I had flashbacks of being stuck in a locker. Spankings were the only thing I really enjoyed. It was the thing that worked. Until I spanked her grandma at Thanksgiving with a turkey leg so hard she knocked the candle wax over while choking on a sweet potato, scratching her head on the way down, biting with her dentures a towel that wasn't secure, only to have one of her nipples stuck in a toaster, and boom, relationship over. Why? Because grandma was hurt? No, because grandma asked for my number. So does anyone here feel old? Sorry to bust your bubble, man, but you are, I can just, pretty damn old. So, I'm just playing. You want to go out later? No. We'll talk after the show. I have a theory that there's a phrase that makes you old. It's not about looks, it's just this phrase. Saying, "Yeah, but it's just not as good," is a phrase that makes you old. In the past, people would use horses, and then someone came with a car. Their response, "Yeah, but it's just not as good." When someone said, "Why don't you just watch the TV instead of reading your book or listening to your radio show?" the answer was always, "It's just not as good." Humans are curious creatures. When we are young, we tend to have an open mind, loving new information and advancement. The very sign of getting old is saying, "Yeah, but it's just not as good." Good as in better or more liked. In fact, I've rewritten this entire thing 100 times. Is it okay? Yeah, but it's just not as good. Why do humans think that technology they grow up with is the best? Is it simply laziness? Or do we humans have something in us that needs the comfort? I don't know. My brain can do a lot of things these days, but it's just not as good. Call me old. In fact, call me at all. No one makes phone calls anymore. It's just texting, and it's just not as good. Alright, so let's talk about a pet peeve of mine. People who skip numbers really piss me off. 3 to 5 weeks, Karen? Are you just 4 weeks pregnant? Todd, you didn't go on vacation for 2 to 11 days. You went on vacation for 3. And it just felt like 9 because you were tripping on mushrooms. I need one number when being explained something. I hate having to do the work for your story. You say I ate 4 to 8 sandwiches, and I'm going to do 60 to life. Look, anyone who says they don't want to have sex with their ex is lying. It's just a fact. Why else would they say X marks the G-spot? Now I know that it could be hard, the penis, that is, after the breakup, and he's no longer getting any. But if you've had sex before, you would have it again. It would be dirty, awful, angry, bitter sex, but sex nonetheless. Of course, feelings can play a bit of a role, but I assure you, anyone would fuck their ex with no strings attached. Unless she wanted strings attached and got off on being a puppet. I dated one of those, and she wanted me to put it in her howdy doody hole. She said growing up she thought she was the only girl wanting to be a prostitute on Sesame Street. But would I still have sex with her? Of course! I would unzip it, untuck it, and fuck that muppet. Why? Because I know what she likes. It's easy. She even got into what I like for a while. Being a normal woman with a job and dreams and prospects other than finding a man. But that's not even the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is that yes, it would be weird to have sex with an ex, but if you can put away shame, guilt, self-worth, love, and basic manners, you could absolutely bed an ex. Men can get off and have the women say, get off. Women can pretend they're still as pretty as when you first met, and men can tell you that no, you're not. You're just not as pretty as when I first met you. You're just not. It wouldn't hurt to put on a little bit more makeup, or, I don't know, try a little bit. Anyway, this is when an exorcism should be performed and cab money handed out to the other person. The fun is over. You remember how much you hate them, and it's time to find another ex to have sex with. Or find someone new, but that's not part of the story. I just like having sex with exes because their friends already know that I have a small penis. It's been discussed. Just like when I told my friends that she uses too much teeth to smile, and when she's going down on me. So, here's an unpopular opinion. Sleep is bullshit. It's bullshit that we all need. We don't know why we need it, but we do. It's like an aunt or an uncle. Sleep freaks me the fuck out. We as humans are expected to go unconscious for 8 hours of the day. That's dying every day. How? How? Did you know that while you were sleeping your roommate whacked off and accidentally got some on you? No, you didn't. Because you weren't asleep, you were dead to the world. It kept going for 8 hours. You didn't. You awake to only what you knew yesterday. And we die every day. And if you've ever wondered what death feels like, drink some water. Brush your teeth and get under the covers, because that is what death is. Going to sleep. So close your eyes. You have no idea if they will open up again. The word sleep is too sweet to describe that. Having to go to sleep is terrifying to me. I can't fathom it. And the more I try to figure it out, the less sleep I get. So much time being alive and so little of life to live. And here I am farting without knowing it while dreaming of a purple monster singing Hokey Pokey. Maybe dreaming is needed, perhaps as a coping mechanism. The body needs a restart. Otherwise we would all kill each other from having spent too much time with each other. But anyway, I do enjoy dreaming sometimes, and overall I think sleep is a good thing. I just don't ever want to have to fucking do it. I wish it were a drug I could take when I needed it. Want to dream for a day? Here's a pill. Don't want to? Fine. Study Spanish, geometry, and pretty much all of human history, and loved ones could be seen more often, like your second cousin. There's just not enough time in the day to ever see your second cousin. So, if we didn't have sleep, we could all see our second cousins. I guess that's the point I'm trying to make. I don't know. So, I just lost my girlfriend of 9 years, and I'm trying to learn how to forgive her. People forgive murderers, and so I have one less kid. Big one. I'm learning to forgive her. She said she wasn't in love with me anymore. I was heartbroken. But at least the sex is still good. She holds hands with her new boyfriend while I go down on her. It works for us. A 9-year relationship and 2 kids makes you have to work hard if you want the relationship to flourish, which explains why she kept being so fucking lazy. She wanted out of the relationship 7 years in, but I told her we can't break up on a lucky number. She told me that I hurt her and made her feel bad. I told her I can't help it that I got the flu. She told me that I needed time to myself, and I told her, you keep the grandfather clock. Maybe I don't know how to communicate, or the penises she has in both ears are blocking what I'm saying. She didn't like that I was a picky eater. I told her that a shower wouldn't hurt anyone. I got to keep the house. Well, it was a single wide full of dead mice, but at least I got something. It's weird because she loved the smell of a dead mouse. She said it reminded her of me. I took a lot of steps to try not to feel down, but I was upstairs and the bathroom was downstairs. I fell into a deep depression after she was gone. I took a lot of medication, and maybe Viagra wasn't the best choice. It's hard for her to look me in the eyes anymore. It would be easier if I kept my pants on. We broke up after 9 years. She and her boyfriend have been together now for 10 years. I was so heartbroken for weeks after she left. Not because I missed her, but because hookers cost a lot. She was once loving and kind. And I mean once. Just once. I don't think it was all her fault for the relationship ending. I blame Jack, Steve, Robert, John, Martin, Jimmy, Sean, Chris, Stephanie, and Jack again. I don't think she was a whore. She didn't get paid. Cheating is wrong if it's on me. But if I'm completely honest, I cheated on her too. I would masturbate to pictures of her when she actually looked good. I didn't know what to do with myself for a long time after the breakup. Which is weird because I knew the trick of sitting on your arm to make it feel like someone else. Never mind. She crushed me when she said she didn't love me. Being overweight, I thought it would have been nice not to sit on me while delivering the news. She crushed my heart and my rib cage. She's not actually overweight, but to keep myself from going crazy, I pretend she's 3 times her weight. It's the same thing she did with my penis. We had a really rough breakup, but talking like dogs probably had something to do with it. I don't take anything seriously, and maybe that got me in trouble. Don't boop someone's nose after she says she's not in love with you anymore. I don't know if I know how to break up well. Maybe it's because after the breakup I keep them in a well. I don't think she's going to forgive me for a lot of things I did to her. But I swear I thought it was the right hole. I should have taken the high road, but I couldn't smoke pot for fear of losing custody. I hate to admit it, but I cried when she left. I was just so happy. So I went to the store the other day and had to get some groceries. So I finally got everything I wanted and was heading up to the checkout. You know, the 10 items or less. When all of a sudden, me and this old lady lock eyes. She's about the same distance away from the checkout, only to the side. We both are at a standstill. I really don't know why. Perhaps for dramatic effect, or we both thought it was a movie. She even revved up her cart. Okay, she didn't make that sound. Or rev up her cart. But if she did, it would be funny, and that's the way I like to remember it. So shut up. Anyway, she takes off first, and I'll be damn sure that I'm not going to let this Wrinklefest buy her Depends before I get my just out of the freezer food. So we're both trucking it toward the checkout just as fast as we can, and let me tell you, she was fast for a cup of banana pudding. So we're going, and right as we get there, this little kid jumps in front of both of us with his baseball cards. It throws both of us off. Old lady crashing into a nearby shopper as I turn to the left and take out this little stand that was displaying popcorn. Nonetheless, I was able to make it back up, all beaten and torn from my ultimate quest to deny old Whitehair the satisfactory of going first. And I jumped at the register before she did and was victorious. I had made it! And right about the time he was putting his stuff up there, the old lady asked, "Is that all you wanted?" The little kid replied, "Yes, Grandma." She put up her Depends beside his baseball cards, and the agony of defeat just slithered right down my throat as I swallowed. I had been beaten. And that is until I ran both of them over with my car in the parking lot. The best revenge you can have on your parents when they get older is to not confront them outright. They will resist and refuse your attempts at updating them like a computer. By the way, the difference between an old computer and your grandma is that I can still turn on your grandma. But to finish my point, when your parents are older or get older, the best way of getting revenge is to find a room they don't go in and simply turn on the light and close the door. They will not go in there, and chances are it will stay on for the entire month. Now, your phone will have to wait until their electric bill comes, but it will be worth the wait. Using every bit of the life they still have in them, they check the bill to find that it has gone up $1.80. Your mom will faint as your dad shotguns every bulb and socket in the house. This will cause a fire and all of your childhood memories and both your mom and dad to burn, but it will well be worth it if you want to get your parents back. Every person steals from the company they work for. Sure, there are goody two-shoes here and there, but I have a half-filled office pen and all they have is being the better human being. But I think a lot, if not most people, steal from work. Fast food workers take food, construction workers take tools, and firefighters probably even fill up jugs with a hose and a hydrant. Why? Because the feeling of getting something from someone you work for other than your barely compensated paycheck feels great. Is it morally right? Of course not! But when you're not compensated correctly, the urge to balance your budget outweighs your moral obligations. This leads me to one conclusion. The best job is working at a bank. I'm not saying that I would steal from the bank. I'm saying that I would steal a lot from the bank. If I were a race car driver, I would drive the car home. If I was a model, I would steal your heart. If I was a caretaker, I would take your watch. If I was an undertaker, I would take your grandpa. Hell, if I was God, I would take your life. Everyone steals at some point. I'm not advertising stealing, but I am open to discussing how stealing is actually what keeps the world wheels turning. Imagine that. Your new coffee mug that was Jill's until you decided that it was yours because she didn't touch it for 3 days might actually be helping the economy. Maybe it's because I grew up in the Robin Hood. I like the thought of the rich people getting stolen from because chances are they made their money stealing from ordinary workers who decided to eat rather than go to the dentist. I'm all for being morally conscious, but at what point is legal theft going to be examined? When is exploitation going to be enough to want to change things? Well, change happens a little bit every time you forget to bring back the company stapler. They'll get another stapler and no one will lose sleep but the person who took it. So sleep well, stapler stealer. And if you really get good, start your own competing business and steal their customers and have your employees steal from you. It's the circle of theft, and it's beautiful. People have a lot of excuses for why they do the things they do. I think there is only one really perfect excuse to get you through anything. The next time you get really mad and kick something across the room, just say these 5 little magic words, and you'll be released from judgment. I'm trying to stop smoking. Yes, that's right. You don't even have to be a smoker to use this, because people just assume you're trying to do better. Example, if you flip someone off in traffic and they follow you, kindly pull over, roll down your window and say, I'm trying to quit smoking. If you're dating someone and for the first time they see you angry, don't worry. The phrase works here too. I'm trying to stop smoking. If you kill the postman because your delivery was late, you're going to jail. The phrase doesn't apply here. The only thing that's going to be on fire is your ass cheeks, and they're not going to stop smoking. So, when someone pisses you off or you get pissed off at someone else, just look at them, and I promise you, you will get away with it. Just tell them, I'm trying to stop smoking. So in conclusion, you should have laughed more. Thank you. Good night. Thank you. Thank you.